Okay, there we go. I'm unmuted too. Instead of asking all the muted people if they can see this, I will just go on. So this is the workshop on venue subsidy funding. We know that some organizations have their own facility and others have no facility. Some with their own facility need to rent other facilities to accomplish their programs. And this program is about helping to make that more affordable. Next.
Since we just started with the taping, for those who are watching this not live but at a later date, just want to let you know our host is Terry Olson from Orange County Arts and Cultural Affairs with Haley Black. And on the United Arts side is Trudy Wild, myself, and Amy Rehart in Outreach.
And Trudy, check your chat. So this is from the tourist development tax revenues, and we will go on. As you know, the mission of the Orange County Arts and Cultural Affairs is to elevate Central Florida's arts and culture to that befitting a diverse, world-class community. And the intended outcomes of our grant programs are about enhancing the Orlando area's arts and cultural identity, presenting quality arts and cultural experiences, and promoting tourism. The outcome of this particular funding program is about making it more affordable for you to find a place to perform. So in the past year, we had $500,000, and there were 37 complete applications from 17 diverse organizations, and the rest non-diverse. The requests were for 770,000, so that was only 74% of the requests were able to be funded, or were not funded at all. The maximum request last year was 60,000, but the maximum funding was 50,000. Just to give you a scope of where it has been. It has changed this year. It was last year you talked about your mission, and it was a grant panel that decided. This year, it's an administrative function to reimburse for anyone that's eligible. So of those 33 grantees, 7, this is from cultural tourism, right?
No, this is how they were broken out in the awards.
Okay. 7 large ones received between $37,350 to $50,000. They got 83% of the requests. 21 medium awards funded 86% of the requests, 1,500 to 31, and 5 small grants got 100% of their requests, 297 to 1221. The events presented were in 50 venues. Well, 50 different requests. There's 26 unique venues. So it is possible to apply for several things that you'll be doing during the year, your whole season, or for just one event or festival. And we'll have some details on that later. In order to apply for more than one reimbursement, in other words, more than one bill from one organization, you'll need to have received a grant from United Arts or Orange County in previous times. Otherwise, you just present one invoice from one venue. This is just for short-term venue rental costs. It's not if you rent a building all year long, that's not an eligible expense here. It doesn't cover staffing, artists, your programmatic expenses. It is just the venue rental bill that you can get reimbursed from. To apply, you must be a 501c3 arts organization in Orange County. So you need to have your address be from Orange County. You need to be in good standing. with the state of Florida Division of Corporations. And that will be verified. Your cultural primary mission needs to be providing cultural programming defined as exhibition, production, presentation, or instruction or performing visual, literary, or media arts, sciences, history, or heritage. In other words, if you are the Rotary Club and you've got great missions, but you put on a chalk festival, that doesn't qualify you. You're not an arts organization. And you can't be an entity that's governed by a county, municipality, school district, community college, university, or agency of state government. You have to be your own 501c3 arts organization. It's not for media companies. It's not for faith-based organizations, fraternal or sports organizations. Can't be for political causes or candidates. It needs to be a 501c3 arts organization, arts and cultural organizations. If it's a adjunct organization like Friends of a Museum, they can apply, but only if the organization itself is not applying. You don't have your 501c3 yet, you're not eligible. You have to be registered in Orange County. So the event must occur in a venue accessible to the public, based in Orange County. Programming must involve arts, culture, science, and history. I guess we could say that a lot of times. And again, it can be a single exhibition, it can be a season, but you apply once during this month for the next year through September 30th. So to apply, you need to get a quote, like this is what we anticipated it will cost, a bill, something from that venue that says, this is what your cost is going to be, what you're going to have to pay us. There may be lots of other expenses you need to put on that production or that exhibition, but we're just dealing with the bill from the venue.
We're mentioning this a whole bunch because this year, and again, last year we didn't have enough money we had about 3/4 of the funding. So we had to restrict it somewhat, not knowing whether or not we would be getting any additional dollars toward this, but this is focused on Orange County venues, Orange County organizations, and had to streamline some of the processing. So that's why we're saying this time no third-party invoices. So even if you go to a park and they say you need to have a porta potty and that's on you, you can't get that written in as part of the venue agreement that you sign, then that's your responsibility. Even though they're saying it's required, or even a permit or something like that. We are settling this year on only that which can be provided through the venue, taken care of by the venue, paid for by the venue, billed to you through that one venue agreement. And that venue agreement is what, or the quote based on that, is what we're going to make the award agreement off of. So if that is incomplete and it just says one little piece of what you're going to do, but they're ultimately going to bill you for everything else, try to get them to get that quote to be as complete as possible so that that's what your award is based off of.
And the reimbursement will be based on the final bill. So they may estimate it'll cost you this and this and this and this. And so this is the total estimate. In the end, it might be more or less, and that will be adjusted related to what the reality is.
The award is not adjusted though up because we award all of the monies based on what we know at the time of the allocation. So if they don't have a complete scope in that quote originally, then we can't increase that amount at a later date. However, if you end up using less of it, we will not pay out to that full amount because it can only equal half of whatever the agreement ended up costing.
And we'll get to that next.
Yeah.
Partnerships with culturally diverse organizations are always encouraged. The productions can have to be open to the public. Some of the spaces Are we going to provide a list of all the spaces that were used last year?
It's in the application and on the website, and it's actually linked on this PowerPoint as well if we email that out.
Okay. Next.
Well, if you want to peek at what those look like, just to show people, it includes your map from the county, and it also has United Arts compiled listing of those that rented last year and had spaces available. So it has the contact information on it. I suggest you get going on that right away, because sometimes it takes a little time. If like for instance, Dr. Phillips is writing many different proposals, it takes a while to get through that process. So start as soon as possible.
Yep. So there's a long list of things we won't fund. What we will reimburse is the bill from a venue. Next. Again, it's an administrative function. There's not a panel that's going to vote on whether it's a good project or not. Just comes in and reimbursement is made.
For anyone who's on this call, I think you'll find this fascinating, that there's really not much of an application at all, except who you are, your contact information, where the event takes place, the dates, and then the quote. There's not much. There's no budget. There's no narrative. There's no review. It's a very easy process this time, all based on your quote.
All righty. So we are anticipating that we'll have enough in this $1 million pool to fund all the reimbursements that come in. If for some reason we don't, and this was set up before we had that much money, any request that's below 2,500 would be funded in full, but then the rest would be funded by the percentage of amount of funds we had. So last year was 76%. Everyone would get 76% of the requests. Don't anticipate that to be an issue this year. We will let you know your eligibility by December 1st. And it has to be final approval of the whole funding is October 24th. So I suppose there's some possibility that the Board of County Commissioners will pull something out and not allow it, but not very likely.
This is just stated really as a risk point, so that if you're committing to a project that happens already in October, while we're still collecting applications, and this is the government year, that's why it starts from October and ends in September. But we don't have that final approval until October 24th of this money actually being dedicated. So once that happens, then we'll go through our appropriation process after the staff review. But if you have, like I was saying, if you have an event that's already going to be presented in October or maybe even November, that's on you, and any funding that you would have to advance will be your responsibility to book any down payments, or if you have to completely pay for something, you need to know that that has to be paid up front with your matching dollars before you can get the reimbursement from the county funds.
Trudy, are you saying that someone may have a final bill and not have paid it yet and can get the reimbursement before they have to pay it? Anyway, we'll go on.
I'm not sure what you're saying. Sorry.
I was asking you if they need insurance in order to get reimbursed for a bill, and you said if they pay up front, and I'm not sure what that means.
We're asking why do they have to have insurance? And basically insurance is a requirement of any funding that comes through United Arts. So it's in our contract that we must employ insurance in any disbursements that are made to keep the county at risk-free, and United Arts as well. They have stipulated that in the funding agreement. So we impose that. We're advancing dollars. They need to have the least amount of insurance is commercial or workers' comp. And
we'll talk about that separately. I don't understand that, how it relates to a reimbursement. So
okay.
Let's go on. So we will, so this is maybe the answer to your question. So once we get the estimate of what your venue cost is going to be, we will pay 50%. So that isn't confirmed yet. So that's why we might need insurance, I guess.
Right.
And then the final payment is after the final bill comes in.
Right.
Got it.
The only time we have ever exempted that before is if an applicant cannot secure insurance, then they need to make the payment fully. And
Well, we haven't never done an administrative reimbursement before, so this is different than a grant. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. Sorry, folks.
Okay.
Next. If there's any significant changes from when you put in, this is the quote that we've got. You let us know. That Trudy and I know.
It's just our email so they can keep us in contact.
Yep. You need to have posted your events on the arts and cultural calendar. This is our community calendar. We like to keep us up as up to date as possible, so we don't fund people who don't participate in our arts and culture calendar, which is the old Orlando at Play. Here's the insurance information, which we'll talk about later. Might not have to do all this. The acknowledgement is with the Arts and Cultural Affairs.
Yeah, the logos that shown up right at the top left of this screen, and then the verbiage is in the middle of the screen. It says this project or your project's name is funded in part by Orange County government through the Arts and Cultural Affairs program. That's to be listed on any materials that you might post or have in the lobby or on the program, for instance, acknowledging this funding.
Okay. You need to keep.
I'll go through this just quickly. It's just basically saying that you need to keep any materials related to this funding for a period of 5 years, and it recommends what type of things to keep related to it. Because it could be that your files need to be checked out. Do you indeed spend this money? And let us see the paperwork that was related to it. Closing the project, once you've got your final settlement, you'll send that in to United Arts on the portal. You have a second follow-up form. So you get 50% upfront, 50% afterwards, up to the final amount that is billable or payable through this funding. You do need to submit any quotes or any final settlements in the document itself.
And the software to submit this on the next slide is through the United Arts Grant portal. So that's the software we use. Which has translation options if English is not the language you want to be reading it in. So just to repeat, eligible organizations are any arts and cultural organization registered in Orange County. The maximum request this year is $45,000, up to half of the total venue rental costs. So if you have a $100,000 bill, you can apply for $45,000. If you have a $50,000 bill, you can apply for half of that, $25,000. It's a simple process. Go ahead. The last day to submit for pre-eligibility review is October 24th. The deadline is October 31st at 1 minute before midnight. Don't be the last minute people. Again, the total funding package needs to be approved by the Board of County Commissioners on October 24th. Notice of the award will be by December 1st. Your event can't happen before 4 days ago, October 1st. And it has to be completed by September 30th of next year. Again, you can get half of it in advance or in December, January time period, and the other half of it once you've submitted your final bill. Trudy always likes to put out at the end of any grant workshop that the Awesome Foundation gives away $1,000 every month for projects that make Orlando more awesome. There's also the Blockbuster Fund. If you are doing some huge event that might bring 100,000 people here, and you can plan it 3 years in advance and incorporate many other arts organizations to do collaborative or collateral kind of programs with it. There's the Blockbuster Fund. Cultural facilities funding, that program is closed for this year. Applications will be next.
We have a couple months. A month.
Oh, cultural facilities, sorry, yes. Cultural facilities, again, this may have more money in it this year, but right now the maximum amount is $500,000, and we've got we have a couple $1,000s, a couple $1 million in that, Trudy. 1.5, I think.
Oh, what we put into that this year. So normally 1.5 million.
Anyway, it may be significantly more money in that pool by the time we get to January. So to repeat for the 4th, 5th time, this is a subsidy for cultural organizations that are renting a space at a venue in Orange County for an exhibition or performance. Maximum amount is $45,000, but no more than 50% of the rental costs, the bill from the venue. Application deadline is October 31st. The period is October 1st through next September 30th.
Let me add one point in here. If you're doing multiple venues, again, if you've gotten a grant before through United Arts, through Orange County Arts and Cultural Affairs, then you're able to put in for more than one venue. So in case your season includes a few different performances at different locations, you can include all of that. If, however, you have not gotten a grant before, then you can put in for only one venue this first run. And it can have multiple dates, but just one venue. So if you're applying for 4 venues throughout the course of this next year, all of them lumped together equals the total that you're asking for. You can get up to half of that with your first payment to move things forward. You get the remaining half of that at the end. There's no interim, there's no I need an advance. It's just first 50% and final 50% at the beginning and the close of whatever you're doing for this year.
And the maximum total for all your venue bills, you can only apply for $45,000. Even if your bill for all that is going to be $600,000. Next. This is the old Orlando Arts magazine that is now called what? Artistry.
We have a new look on it, which is unfortunately not on this old webinar. Sorry about that. But it's called Artistry now. It is still available online. You can read it. There's a link at the bottom that shows you can get into any of the issues that were published through this process. And the Cindy is still our editor, and she is available for if you have any prods of things that might be good to include, some great photos, any article suggestions. She is open to that. Just send her an email with a little capsule of what you're thinking about.
Next, and again, the Orlando Play is now Arts and Culture calendar, and you need your event to be listed there in order to be eligible for funding. Also, if you're not getting my weekly update, you might want to sign up for that. Usually has 2 I think this week might have 4 little articles about the arts in it. Next. So feel free to get a hold of Trudy or myself about any questions you have. The Arts and Cultural Calendar is Laura Coley. And we will take any questions now. In fact, we've got more people that have joined us. Maybe I'll call on you, and if you can unmute yourself and introduce yourself and your organization, that'd be great. So let's see, we had Beverly Page.
Hey, hello.
And
Hi.
Beverly, you're
Yes,
with?
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear? Hi, everybody. Hello.
There.
Yeah, I've been a recipient of this grant for the past 3 years, and I just want you to know that this is a very valuable grant to have, and the process is very very easy. I love working with Trudy. I've learned so much over the years working with her. But I have one question for you, Terry. Just one question. I noticed you said that the maximum amount to apply for is 45,000, but you did also say that if you had a $50,000 grant, then 50% of that we know is 25,000. So is it appropriate to apply for the amount to be 50,000, but you know you're going to get 50% of that? Can you clarify that for me?
Sure. I was just using as an example. If your bill is $50,000, half of that is 25, and that's what you can apply for. You can apply for half of the bill from the venue, up to a maximum of 45,000.
Oh, that's what you meant. Half
Yep.
of the bill. Half of the bill.
Yep.
Or that
Up
is,
to a maximum of 45,000.
that's a good clarification. Thank you, Terry.
You
Okay.
bet.
Thank you, Beverly.
Okay.
And who do we have from DTO Jazz Fest?
Arturo Campa.
Hey, Arturo, welcome. Let's see, Jill Goddard, did you introduce yourself?
I'm sorry?
Hi all, Jill Goddard from Orlando Science Center. Lisa and I are both here, Lisa Hart with Orlando Science Center. We thought we would have an opportunity for an event that we're having, but unfortunately it looks like we're not going to, because we actually, it takes place in Lock Haven Park, but the majority of we might be able to do a portion, a very small portion. So this was very informative. We thank you for going through this.
Sure. And let's see, Marianne.
Hello, how is everybody? I just want to express my gratitude, because we would not have been able to, we would not have been able to host our event at Dr. Phillips this year, and it was amazing. So thank you so much. We greatly appreciate you and look forward to being able to apply this year.
Great. And Sam?
Yes. Again, thank you guys for this. I know I came on a little bit late, but we're looking forward to utilizing this to help offset our close to $100,000 cost in venue rentals from Camping World Stadium and Dr. Phillips as well. So.
For what organization?
Oh, I'm sorry. Orlando Carnival Downtown Caribbean Passport Multicultural Initiative.
Great. Anyone else that didn't get a chance to introduce themselves? Or does anyone have any questions? Great. Well, hopefully this year we'll have more money. Hopefully the process will be even simpler and easier. And we'll help you find a place to do what you need to do.
I'd like to add one thing, that if you have any questions along the way, please ask them before the deadline, before the last day, because there are changes after the deadline. So if I can help you, it'd be best to do that in advance.
All right, I've got a quick question. Do I use my paid invoices from this year's event to submit, or do I get new estimates or invoices from the venues for 2024.
You need to get a quote from the venues.
Okay.
Or-
All right. Awesome. All right. That works. Thank you.
So again, get started on this right away. It's, it's just this month you have to get that together and submit.
Okay.
Chat question about, what about leftover money? Is there a possibility that there may be money left over?
If there is money left over, then those people who were limited by the cap of 45,000 will be invited to apply for more. How much more will depend on how much money is left.
Had the
But
cap
we-
last year at 60,000 and had to reduce that to 50,000 because of all of the requests that we had. So this is our way of trying to keep it to a reasonable amount at first, but then if the bills actually go larger, like Terry says, and we have more money left over, then we'll proportionately increase that.
Okay. Question. If my invoices are more than, let's say in this case, more than $90,000 and there's money left, do I have to reapply or?
Good question, Sam. We haven't worked that out yet. It was just yesterday at 2:45 that we knew that we had more money. So we will address that question and get back to you. But
I'm sorry, say that again?
submit whatever the bill is. If your bill is $530, submit that, knowing that at this point 45,000 is all you can get.
Okay.
But Terry, this is Marianne again, but you still have to pay 50, you still have to match it with 50%, even if your invoice is 100,000, right?
If your invoice is $530,000, you're going to have to pay all of that except for up to $45,000 that you can apply for from us.
So that's correct. You still always have to match it. The most we can pay on any of these is 50% of the total bill. And if your bill is 100,000 and we're putting, let's do the 90,000 just to make it up to the maximum of 45 that you could apply for. If there are items in there like food and beverage and additional marketing, or you paid to get some extra concessions distributed to everybody, we have to strike through some of those things that are not eligible. So even though it's a part of your event and what you're doing, there are a couple fees that are not eligible. So we will have to mark those up. So just be mindful of that. And like Terry just suggested to Sam, include the whole amount. If it's going to be 90,000, or if you're doing 3 events and you have, it's 200,000 or 600,000 worth of expenses, submit the whole thing. That we'll see, yes, you will exceed the 45,000 that's allowed at this first round max. And then when we have any determination of additional dollars, we can proportionately go back to those and fund more of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thanks.
It's pretty easy.
Um,
Thanks for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Short notice that you didn't have too much word about this, so thank you for joining in. Ask if there's any questions that come up after the fact, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye, Tara.
Bye-bye.
Sam, happy to see you here too. Beverly, Florence, everyone. Thank you. Arturo, but I
Same
can't.
here. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Bye, guys. I didn't mention on here too, but on the email, I'm going to update. I'll send an email out afterward that has this final webinar, and it'll be posted on the website as well. That we're also including the outreach email, which is outreach@unitedartscfl.org, because any updates will go to everybody and be able to alert that we need some help with something on this. So I'll update that on the final.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Terry, did you want to stay on and talk anything about that reimbursement question?
Yeah.
After?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a question, Florence or Sam?
Oh, just
Alexander,
thank
sorry.
you.
Happy that you're back with us. Hope you're feeling better.
I am. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, unless you have a question, we're going to close this out now. So I welcome you to X out, and we're going to pick up on an admin question that's internal only. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.